it's good to see the unity, man. People are together here. And the fact that a Superman is saying, looking out for the other Superman, like, yeah, you're going to be great, bro. I'm pretty sure you're going to love the character and it's going to be awesome. To see that type of cohesiveness is really nice for the DCU. Welcome to another episode of DC Rises. It's your boy Jody Joe. It's Wednesday. You already know what time it is. Give you guys the week's news from DC because you go to DC is Rising. Let's get up into it, man. Maybe you guys do or do not know, James Gunn made an Apple podcast. Well, he was on a show for one of his friends and he did an Apple Music podcast.
Do you feel like, out of all the big movies you've done, do you feel the most pressure with Superman?
I did up until I finished the script. Now it's fun.
You love the script.
I love the script.
And there's a lot of good nuggets in there. I want you guys to give it a listen if you guys have the chance. He gets candid about a lot of great things in that podcast. And I just thought I would put that in there as something for you guys to watch. But Tyler Hoechlin, he says he's going ahead and he's going to show love to the next person that does Superman, because in Superman Legacy, that's going to be the newest Superman. And that's going to be the Superman that's getting pushed and promoted in the DCU. Tyler Hoechlin says he's happy for the next guy. So we got a little some quotes here from the man. He's the CW HBO Max version. He says, "I'm very confident that whomever comes in for Superman Legacy," it's so funny. People jump so quickly to say that that's not it. But when they get somebody, but I would just encourage everybody, whomever the next person ends up being cast as Superman, give them a chance, because I'm sure they will be awesome. So that's a very Superman-esque thing to say. He also says, "I think anyone who does this has a huge love for it and a real care for the character. Even me, who didn't really grow up with the character. You know what Superman means to people. And I think it's just something that you don't mess with unless you really have a care for it. I'm excited to see whoever the next person is." Hey, that's what's up, man. And shout out to Tyler Hoechlin, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's on his way out. This Superman, I believe Superman Season 3 is the last season of the show, and that's going to be bye-bye, c'est la vie. Probably the best Superman that we've ever had on TV. I'm looking at the Superman and Lois from the 90s and Channel 7 with Dean Cain. You know what I'm saying? That was my show. Good to hear that from Tyler Hoechlin, and it's good to see the unity, man. People are together here, and the fact that a Superman is saying, looking out for the other Superman, like, yeah, you're going to be great, bro. I'm pretty sure you're going to love the character, and it's going to be awesome. To see that type of cohesiveness is really nice for the DCU. Moving on into some other news. If you guys don't know, it looks like we're going to have a narrowing of who's going to play Superman and who's going to play Lois. And like I told you guys from the 4 names that were revealed 3-4 weeks ago, the pick that I had from the picks that they had is still the front runner, bro. This guy, David Cornswet, he's in the front running to be Superman. And it looks good for him. Everything looks promising for him to be Superman. I think that's a good pick. He has the chops. He has the look. He's got my stamp of approval. I just think it just looks. He's got that look. Like, you know what I'm saying? You look like Superman. Me, you already know who my overall pick would be, but that's neither here nor there. Now, and also the one that I wanted to be Lois Lane is in the mix as well for the front runner, and it is none other than Rachel Brosnahan. She's beautiful. Here's a look at her, some of her images. She's a beauty. She's got that dark smoke. She had this dark hair, dark brown eyelashes, and that smoky eyes. She's a looker like a motherfucker, bro. You know what I'm saying? I love this shot of her, bro. I mean, there she is, bro. Beautiful. I think that's a good pick. So she's in the running. They could come out the woodworks and switch it up, but she look like she gonna be Lois, bro. That's my pick too. I think it's great. Moving on into some other news. It's getting serious here. The Flash debuts this week. This is the week of the Flash, y'all. The DCU officially starts, or at least the DCU officially ends this week with the Flash. And since the premiere was this week, Ezra Miller has come out of the woodworks. Ezra Miller was at the premiere, y'all. He was at the premiere, and he had a few things to say. They kept it really quick and sweet. They said, yo, get up, freak up here, say a couple words, get the freak up out of here, bro. They still got him in the sunken place, but they dressed him up and got him ready, you know what I'm saying, to show up to the premiere. He said a couple of words, bro. And that was that, you know what I'm saying? As you guys may or may not know, Ezra Miller is somebody who is very polarizing, and not only is he a polarizing person, he is an abuser. He's a person who deserves a jail cell, but because of the sexuality of his character, because of his person and the color of his skin, he has eluded justice. You know, he plays a superhero, but he is far from one in real life. Freak Ezra Miller, because of all of the things that he's done. If anybody of color, if there was a black man, he'd be already in prison. But Ezra Miller is protected from the protection of the collection of the protection. Miller walked the red carpet of the premiere Monday, paid tribute to their maestro, director Andy Muschietti. Warner Brothers executives, he talked about David Zaslav. He thanked David Zaslav for him being amazing. He says the dynamic duo of Peter Safran and James Gunn. He says, thank you for your grace, discernment, and care in the context of my life and in bringing this moment actually to fruition. He said actually to fruition because we know this thing was in development hell. This thing was announced maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and we're just now getting it. A lot of different directors had their hands on it. A lot of different writers had their hands on it, and it just wasn't being able to be made, but it's happening now. So he was really grateful for that. So let me go ahead and show you guys a video from Deadline Hollywood. They have a video of when he first pulled out to the premiere and the things that he said. It's really not much, but it's something. It's the first time we get to see Ezra Miller.
Here we are. I love them so much. Thank you, all of you. Take it.
It looks like the guy with the microphone in his hand. That was Andy Muschietti. I think to the right of him is Ben Affleck. To the right of Ben Affleck is Supergirl.
I'll try to make this fast. I'll try to make that the last time. Maestro has said it all and has said it well, and I just want to say that I love you, Maestro. I think you're amazing, and I think your work is monumental, nothing short of monumental. Barbara, our great champion, Disco, Walter, and Galen, and Marianne Jenkins, wherever you are, probably in England. I want to thank Gardner Fox and Harry Lampert. I want to thank
all the doctors.
Bob Kaniger and Carmine Infantino.
He needs to be thanking everybody in the doggone alphabet community for protecting him as well. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the judges, whose bribes were not possible without the people of looking out for him. Shout out to them too.
Creating this character into life. And I want to thank Zach and Deborah Snyder. And I want to thank Grant and Kristen Morrison for initiating me into the...
He thanked Zach and Deborah Snyder because, you know, they are the ones who cast this nut job. Don't forget that.
Life of this character in so many ways. And I want to thank Pam Abdi. And I want to thank Mike DeLuca. And I want to thank David Zaslav and the dynamic duo, Peter Safran and James Gunn.
So he thanked everybody across the board. He didn't thank Walter Hamada there. Oh, it's interesting.
For your grace and discernment
Very much a
and
Walter
care
Hamada.
in the context of my life and in bringing this moment actually to fruition. And I want to thank every single member of our unstoppable Boost Canal of a crew. And our irresistible dream cast and just the thousands of artists and workers who made this movie, everybody who supported us in our lives and in the world.
The thousands of artists and workers who made this movie while you were fumbling the bag, beating on people, abusing people, burglarizing people. Matter of fact, you know, let's go ahead and get to the nitty gritty on some of the things that good old Ezra has been doing during the release of and the production of The Flash. Ezra Miller's arrest and alleged history of violence have overshadowed The Flash. That's true. Having recently gone through some intense crisis, he says, I now understand that I'm suffering a complex mental health issue and have begun ongoing treatment, they said. He says, I want to apologize to everyone that I have alarmed and upset in my past behavior. I am committed to doing the necessary work to get back healthy, safe, and a productive state. This was after he was getting all the allegations and getting the handcuffs. Here we go. In March of 2022, he was arrested in Hawaii for disorderly conduct. I believe this incident right here was when he was acting belligerent at a bar. He got into a fight and a scuffle, arguing. He threw a chair across the room and gashed a woman in the head to the point where she needed stitches. They came up to him later. The video was showing, and Ezra Miller said he was accusing the police officer of touching his penis when that police officer did not touch his penis. He was nowhere near his penis. But Ezra Miller said, "Oh my God, you touched my penis." He acted like a straight Karen and a buster. I remember that. In April, which is the very next month, they were arrested again in Hawaii on suspicion of assault. I believe that. So the first one was when he was in a karaoke bar. He was talking trash. And this time was also at another bar where he was acting belligerent. And then more violence occurred. In June of 2022, which is dang. Wow, that's only another 2 months from there. Miller was accused of grooming an 18-year-old activist, Dakota Iron Eyes, by the teen's parents. So this was a very interesting thing. Dakota Iron Eyes is a Native American person who was enamored with Ezra Miller, and it was rumored that they were, sexually, engaged. Ezra Miller was basically grooming this young girl. She was enamored with his celebrity. They met on Fantastic Beasts set. She was there or something like that. And then he latched on to this little girl and took her on under his wing, and she was doing a lot of drugs. She was losing a lot of weight. She was not responding and to her family members. Basically, he put her in his own version of a cult, and they couldn't find her, and they had to actually get the judge to enact a lawsuit upon him, enact legal action upon him to return their daughter to the family. And that's exactly what he had to do. There was an incident where he had a ranch that was growing marijuana, and there were children present. There were children around in the home where it was unsafe. There was guns and bullets found in the area where children were present. It was an unsafe environment. The father of the child who was on the weed ranch tried to call the police to get them to get their children, but was unsuccessful in doing so. And then Ezra Miller also entered a woman's apartment belligerently. Someone who he knew entered his apartment, assaulted her, chose not to leave, burglarized her, manipulated her, and got charges for that as well, burglary charges. In January 2023, he accepted a plea deal for misdemeanor and unlawful trespass to avoid jail time in the Vermont case. The Vermont case was the weed house. The felony burglary charge was dropped. That was when he entered that woman's house. I think that was in the UK. I'm not exactly sure, but it was when he entered the woman's house unlawfully. But they dropped that because obviously money talks. That's just a little timeline of what happened, because in the very, very, very beginning, we know that Ezra Miller a couple years ago, a girl was like, I want to run. He was like, you want to run it? You want to run it? Choked a woman outside of a bar somewhere in Europe and shit. And it just, for all of these things happening, for each individual one, had that been a black man, he would have been fired. He would have been put in jail for each individual item. Like, these aren't even all the items that he's done. For each individual occurrence here, he would have been fired for this and thrown in jail. He would have been fired for this and thrown in jail. He definitely would have been fired for this and thrown in jail. This would have put him in jail and fired. This would have put him in jail, fired. This is for regular citizens and specifically black men. This is the things that we go through, bro. The unfair practices of the legal system when it comes to us, and the unfair practices of the legal system when it comes to them. What I mean by them, I'm not talking about him as a they. I'm talking about them as a group. The LGBTQ movement is a protection for the protection of the collection of the complexion. He's white and gay, and that is ultimately what saved his butt. I just got to be clear on how I feel about the whole situation. I've never wavered, and I never will. Ezra Miller is trash. He still can't run. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the last piece of news. We're talking about The Flash. Since it is the week of The Flash, the expectations are high for this movie. $70 million domestically, with probably $155 million worldwide. These are some pretty darn good numbers. After a year plus of tabloid headlines, Warner Bros. DC COVID-delayed $200 million Justice League standalone superhero movie The Flash finally arrives in theaters. Overseas, looking better than the domestic $155 to $165 million to $70 million in the United States/Canada. Despite a very good response out of CinemaCon, and DC co-boss James Gunn exclaiming that the pick is probably one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, along with reports how the movie is ready to reset the DC Snyderverse, The Flash has been sitting around 70 to 75 million on tracking for quite some time. Guys, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this movie is going to make $70 million domestically? I think those expectations and those projections are quite low. I think this movie is going to make over $110 million this weekend domestically, with about that 155, 165 seems nice. Remember what I said a couple of weeks ago? I think it's going to be a lot closer to $180 million worldwide. Those are my numbers. I'm going to go $115 million domestic, cha-ching, and I'm going $175 to $80 million worldwide. Cha-ching. There it is, guys. What do you guys think about the DC news? DC Rises number 6 is in the bag. Go see The Flash. This is going to be a fantastic movie. I can't wait to see the final end. The really last, what I heard, shout out to my dog Tyler, 40 extra seconds that was not in CinemaCon that I can't wait to see. So yeah, man, I'll see you guys next week for DC Rises number 7 next Wednesday. But until then, peace out, y'all. DC Rises.
In the beginning, it's like I had to take a leap of faith. It was me in front of the camera. And I did have to take a leap of faith.